Irish guy. Alright, so this is the last Prem Catchup before the World Cup. Let's look at what happened this weekend then. And lads, some of it was nutty. Right, let's go. Fulham 1, Man United 2. Yeah, so I think the secret's out now. Alejandro Garnacho, he looks like a joke. An absolutely sickeningly good football. The ceiling is the limit. Oh, but after that Fulham match, AG, have fun. From this day forward, your life is going to be under the microscope. Oh, I mean, you enjoyed eating chicken and chips in Nando's on a Tuesday afternoon? Yeah, no, not anymore. Now if you dare to do that, you'll probably have fellow customers hiding in the toilets, ready to sniff your hair when you take a poo. Oh, you were able to go to the cinema last week, right? Yeah, no, try and bring your mum to watch the Smurf movie in cinemas now. You'll soon have a bunch of annoying 13-year-olds begging you for selfies. I mean, guys, well, some tabloid journalists will probably try and even bug your popcorn. Garnacho. Oh no! What have you done? This reminds me, and you're going to hate this comparison, but Adnan Januzaj, I mean, remember when he lit up that stale David Moyes Man United team with a couple of goals away at the Stadium of Light? And suddenly those weary Bedragga supporters were so desperate to latch onto something, anything. Suddenly, I mean, they were telling Adam McCullough that this was the next Ronaldo. I mean, this guy had 4 countries desperately fighting over his passport. Right, well, the FA actually wanted him in the England team, despite him having the upper body strength of a Milky Way. And anyway, he's someone who wound up soon being a Sunderland flop. But at the same time, I also get flashbacks to Cristiano Ronaldo announcing himself as a worldwide star with a last-minute winner at Craven Cottage in 2006 in a 2-1 win. That's what Garnacho's just done now. Plus, Man United were seconds away from leaving Fulham with 2 points dropped, having been haunted by, their former wet cabbage Daniel James, who of course managed to score. Can you imagine the morale in the away dressing room if they managed to drop 2 vital points just before the World Cup because a guy with all the end product of a smashed ironing board someone managed to score? Well, Garnacho. This guy looks like he's a sickeningly scary prospect, and I'm guessing, having already switched international allegiances already, the Spanish FA, if any of them watch this game on telly, at least one of them will be wanting to pour hot coffee in his eye. To be fair, it's also a nice subplot that Christian Eriksen managed to score his first Man United goal, but Garnacho, you've just become a superstar overnight. Honestly, this must be like what Joe McKelvey felt in 2009. Yeah, I'm not really sure what he's doing now. I'm just eating muffins on his couch. But I mean, Alejandro, try and walk your dog in the street now. I mean, you'll even have his lonely grandmas begging you for a hug. I hope this kid can handle the limelight. Although, considering Bruno Fernandes recently ratted him out for having a bad attitude during pre-season, maybe we are looking at one of football's Kardashians. But listen, for an exciting flair player to escape the stuffy environment of Atletico Madrid, I mean, the kid has done good. But for Atleti to lose him for just £420,000, lad, that is a month worth of Jesse Lingard's salary. I mean, what a coup. I mean, this was a great win for Man United, but Christ above, do not suffocate Garnacho's talent in a bin. It is every Manchester United player's duty to protect this guy from the suffocating, stifling spotlight. As well, I just know, as we speak, there's probably some tabloid journalist rummaging through his mum's bin. Honestly, they probably just want to sell their soiled pajama bottoms on the internet. But he's here. Garnacho is here. He has announced himself to the world, scoring the last Premier League goal before the World Cup. But please, for your own sake, don't suddenly adopt the ego of Justin Bieber. I realise you're living the dream and Ronaldo is your mate, and tonight you probably had I Showed Speed follow you all the way home, but still, you need to work hard, stay grounded, and why am I giving advice to a multi-millionaire? I mean, look at me. I live in a cave, smell like a badger's crotch, and I don't even eat proper branded cereal. Frosted Wheaties. Why does it smell like it's a dead coffin for rats? I mean, no, sorry to the company of Frosted Wheaties. Please don't sue me. They taste wonderful. I wish I could eat them every day. Definitely don't taste like the dead skin of my grandma's foot. Oh yes, and by the way, I am, on TikTok. Yeah, which sort of makes me feel like I've waded into a creche, just walking over empty Capri Suns, wet nappies, and a puddle of wee on the floor. I mean, is this what Thug That feels like in a nightclub? But I'm on it, so go on and go give me a follow if you're on it. But I guarantee you, none of you are on TikTok, right? Because I mean, to anyone over the age of 9, it's just the sound of a clock, right? Newcastle 1, Chelsea 0. So, Graham Potter, eh? Apparently, I was told that I've got marmalade toast for brains. I was told that me not jumping on board the Graham Potter hype train. Oh, clearly I'm just some befuddled ogre who doesn't even know how to tell time. That I'm so incredibly unintelligent that I probably wake up each morning and immediately pour bath water into my bowl of Cocoa Pops, right? And why? Because I didn't think the guy who once failed to get the job at Hibernian was a right fit for Chelsea FC. That I knew Potter would be eaten alive at Stamford Bridge, but I did not think it would all unravel so quickly. That imagine if they did the reverse of the Manager of the Month award. Say now, I don't know, the Potato of the Month award. Oh, he would win it because this has been a Chelsea month from hell. Can I remind you all, Chelsea are 8th in the league. They've lost 3 games in a row, failed to win any of the last 5, and criminally, they've now scored 2 goals in 5 league matches, and one of them was a penalty. The guy's already out of ideas. Clearly, he's already given up on Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, just letting him rot like an out-of-date pancake on the Chelsea bench. I mean, to be fair, I get it. I mean, Aubameyang was very much a Thomas Tuchel pick, so it's like getting married to someone and just refusing to wear her ex-husband's slippers. Yeah, I should think so. But Chelsea travelling to Newcastle and starting 6 academy players. Oh, it's also very hipster. A front 3 of Mason Mount, Conor Gallagher and Armando Broja. For a team who only 6 weeks ago were still reigning champions of the world. I'm sorry, I don't want to pick on Broja, but it's evident to see this man belongs to the likes of Crystal Palace or West Ham. While Gallagher, am I the only one who can see that he's got someone like Everton stamped all over his face? I mean, Potter chooses to ignore multi-million-pound international superstars to instead keep picking a child with number 67 on his back. I've told you from the beginning, I never trusted Potter. And yet here, it's like David Moyes at Old Trafford. A job that's far too big for him. But I thought, this guy's struggling to win a damn match. And yet he's instead sitting in a press conference, whinging about climate change. I mean, sure, an admirable thing, I guess. But I mean, last time I checked, you were a Premier League manager. Not a 15-year-old Swedish girl. 5 games in a row with no win. Do you know, that didn't even happen during the Mourinho meltdown in 2015. I mean, even then, when he had the worldwide press laughing in his face. Never did he stoop so low as to fail to win 5 matches on the bounce. But Potter, I'm telling you, he is nothing special. If you want to talk about English managers, Alan Pardew once finished 5th in the Premier League and reached 2 FA Cup finals with borderline championship squads. I mean, I will shout this until I blue in the face. But that man has more managerial pedigree than this guy. But listen, as for Newcastle, Third in the league at Christmas. What is going on? 30 points from 15 games. I mean, here's the most insanely baffling stat. This is a team who couldn't buy a win until December last year. I remember when YouTube was littered with proclamations that Newcastle United were definitely relegated now, right?
So the big news from today is already in, and that news has landed. Newcastle United have been relegated. It is official. Newcastle United will not be playing in the Premier League next season. It is over. Today was a watershed moment for that club.
Oh, you just know he's someone who breastfeeds his cat. I mean, apparently they were destined to hold hands with Norwich City on their way back to the Championship, right? Well, we're a year later, and I'm sorry, but if Fabio Carvalho had not snaffled in a 98th minute winner for Liverpool at Anfield in August, then Newcastle United would still be on course to be the Invincibles. If the referee had just blown his whistle when the 7 minutes of injury time were up, then Newcastle United would have not lost a single match since May. I mean, people have been banging on about Potter being the best English manager of the generation. And I mean, I've never heard so much waffle. When I hear things like that, I honestly feel like smearing my own earwax on my eyes. I mean, would Potter have done this revolutionary job at St. James's Park? No, he'd have been too busy trying to be too clever by turning Kieran Trippier into a defensive midfielder or demanding that Nick Pope spend half the match standing on his head. And I promise you, Potter would have never dreamed of the idea of turning Joe Linton into a midfielder. No, he'd still be stuffed up front and just being told to be his version of Danny Welbeck. How is the real deal? And I think that his last job ended in relegation almost defies belief. This is a guy who right now is in a title race. Newcastle are 7 points off the top, just 2 behind Man City, and I know they played a game more, but I'm sorry, I tipped them to finish 5th in August, and people reacted to that as if I just confessed to sharing a bath with Susan Boyle. Here's another scary stat. Newcastle have now won 7 of the last 8 league matches. Not even Leicester City went on such an impressive run when they went on to win the league. This is scary times for Newcastle. And so yeah, comfortably beating Chelsea after dominating the match. Joe Willock firing home the winning goal, and I'm sorry, but how? How was he not given even a mention of the England squad? He's playing week in, week out for a team who are third in the Premier League. And yes, Southgate's picking Conor Gallagher instead? How could a guy who was hunting down Champions League football not even be a dot on Gareth Southgate's shopping list? I mean, this isn't the same wet cheeseburger who Steve Bruce made look like a midfield sock before he got the sack. No, Willock is one of the most informed midfielders in the league. I mean, give Joe the respect he deserves. Man City 1, Brentford 2. What just happened? I predicted Bournemouth were going to get relegated. They since decided to stuff Man United 4-0, and if that wasn't bad enough, if I hadn't looked enough like someone who drinks his own granny's breast milk through a straw, oh no, I'd be made to look like an oafish caveman, because they've now just travelled to the Etihad and won. Thomas Frank, take a bow. Last season, I genuinely thought this guy was about as much a Premier League quality coach as I was a cross-dressing penguin. I mean, does nobody remember that wretched run of form between January and February, where they lost 7 times in 8 matches, only to get bailed out with the lucky sliding of Christian Eriksen? I remember saying then that I thought Frank, someone who 3 years earlier does look like a ventriloquist dummy sitting on Dean Smith's lap, I thought he should have been sacked. Well, look at him now, actually leaving the Etihad with a win. And I'm guessing Gareth Southgate must have slightly felt a sickly taste of expired sausage in his throat, because Callum Wilson, his England squad pick, spent most of this weekend stuffed on Newcastle's bench with an injury, while Tony, 2 goals away to Man City. I mean, don't act for a minute like Southgate would have spent Saturday morning hyperventilating into a shoe. I mean, this would be like in a classic rom-com, right? Where the girl has to make a choice between 2 doting men. Except then she gets worried when the guy she does pick, she realizes he likes to spend 19 hours a day playing Crash Bandicoot on the couch whilst picking his belly button and wiping his knob on the cat. While the guy she rejected is now getting a top-tier job at the local bank. I mean, Wilson is a brilliant player, yes, but he is a sick note, while Tony, let's just say, if the England squad was being picked instead on Monday, I genuinely think Ivan would have made the squad. But I'm gonna say this though, next summer absolutely needs to be the year where Tony gets a big move. Incredible, it'll be 27. Does he really want to fritter the rest of his career away in the bottom half of the Premier League? But as for Man City, what is this? You cannot afford to sleepwalk in this title fight. And I'm gonna say this, the fact that you got a new signing who's already scored 18 Premier League goals, and yet you're still not top of the league? I mean, you know it already. For your pristine, excellent standards. And so far, that's a bit sloppy. Tottenham 4, Leeds 3. Does anyone really think that there's a happy ending for Antonio Conte at Spurs? I mean, yes, a thoroughly 4-3 win in the Premier League sounds nice. A brilliant, exciting night out for the Tottenham supporters. But I promise you, the minute that Rodrigo drilled in what looked to be a 76th minute winner for Leeds, there must have been at least 100 Spurs fans who immediately stormed into the ground, slagging off Conte all the way to the car park. I mean, in that split moment, I guarantee you, at least 15 Tottenham fans must have been actively calling for the sack. I mean, can you imagine? They've just been knocked out of the League Cup in Nottingham Forest. Another valuable piece of silverware stuffed in a bin. Can you imagine if they actually then conspired to lose at home to Leeds? I'm gonna say it, Daniel Levy would have spit in his coffee and then instantly fired him on the spot before spending Saturday evening begging Pochettino down the phone. Listen, I know, once again, Tottenham show grit and desire to come back and win this match. I mean, Rodrigo Bentancur fired in a late double to win the game. Brilliant! But it shouldn't have been this hard. Leeds took the lead 3 times. Let me get it straight. You gave 3 leads to Leeds. Sounds like a Dr. Seuss poem. I mean, Silencio Somerville scored again. I remember last week when I said he was the next Robin van Persie? That he's destined to move from the wing into a Dutch number 9? Ozzy, this kid, he needs a big move. If I am Jose Mourinho, then I am buying him for Roma in January. I mean, he's the real deal. But yeah, after the game, Jesse Marsh said he felt as if his heart had just been ripped out of his chest. And yeah, I mean, look into his tearful eyes. I mean, he did look like someone who's just been dumped by his wife. Same afternoon his dog was hit by a bus. But do I have sympathy for Jesse? No, because last week you won a Premier League match 4-3. And you made Gary O'Neill feel like someone who's just been forced to eat his grandma's head for lunch. Sorry, Jesse, but it was just your turn. But Tottenham really sloppily beating the likes of Bournemouth and Leeds with late goals. You can't keep doing this every week. Tottenham have now gone behind in each of the last 5 matches. Why do they always start games like the players have just been out the night before, drinking tequila and pissing in post boxes? I mean, wake up, Tottenham. This season has been so hideously sloppy. I mean, that's the word of the day. These teams are just sloppy. I mean, a bit like watching someone who's had their face ripped off by a chimpanzee suddenly now trying to drink soup. I mean, that's Tottenham. That is Tottenham this season. Conte is supposed to be a man who prides himself on organisation and defensive discipline, right? But I'm sorry, letting a team like Leeds United take the lead 3 times on your own turf, that's not the Conte we all know. I mean, during his title winning season at Chelsea, there were only 9 Premier League matches where he watched the opposition take the lead. I mean, so far this season, he's watched his Tottenham team go behind in 13 matches in all competitions. 13 already! So very poor. West Ham 0, Leicester 2. First of all, let me reiterate, I was the only one to back Brendan Rodgers this season. Everyone everyone was screaming that this man deserved the Leicester City sack, which is absolute wet nonsense, such absolute drivel that it honestly makes my eyes want to morph into sand. I mean, here are the stats. In a summer where every Premier League coach was allowed to spend money, Rodgers was not only told that he could not replace his departing goalkeeper, but he was only allowed one transfer. One transfer all summer. And even then, he could only pick from a team which just finished 12th in League One. I mean, which is a bit like telling a small child that they're only getting one present for Christmas. And what's more, it can't even be a nice present. It has to be something they find in a bin outside Pizza Hut. And yet still, the facts are that Leicester, despite having their financial hands tied behind their back, they've now won 4 of the last 5 league games. I mean, they've conceded 1 goal in the last 6 league matches. And even that was a magical Kevin De Bruyne free kick. Leicester City right now, ever since that nightmare afternoon where they conceded 6 at Spurs, since then, they've got the best defense in the league. Rodgers has finally fixed them at the back. And again, goals from James Maddison and Harvey Barnes gets them a brilliant win at West Ham. Another clean sheet. And guess what? This team, who were apparent relegation cannon fodder, are now just 4 points behind Chelsea. I mean, put some respect on Rodgers' name. I'm telling you, considering this guy has already done well at a massive club like Liverpool, I'm telling you, he would have been a better choice for Chelsea than Potter. But, something tells me he'll never get that job.
Chelsea job destroyed my career since Brendan Rodgers.
Yeah. How much do you reckon he wish he could take that back? But, I mean, as for West Ham, some fans are murmuring that they want David Moyes sacked. One word for you. Stop. If you think Mauricio Pochettino would say no to Aston Villa, but yes to West Ham, then clearly you're about as clever as a bar of soap. Bournemouth 3, Everton 0. Oh, Everton, this is hideous. Imagine you're an Everton fan, and earlier in the season you watch your city neighbours win a Premier League match by 9 goals. It's okay. You rationalise that because it was only against Bournemouth, one of the worst Premier League teams of all time, right? I mean, it's not that big a deal, so calm down Liverpool. That team was like a defensively putrid cheesecake, right? Half their players didn't even know how to kick the ball, right? Yeah, fast forward 3 months, and that same Bournemouth team are now beating you by 3 goals twice in the space of a week. I mean, imagine those same Everton fans having to make the 9-hour round trip to Bournemouth to watch them get stuffed 4-1 on the Wednesday and then make the exact same trip for the exact same punishment on the Saturday afternoon. If I was an Everton fan who made both those trips, then yeah, I feel like stuffing a can of Pepsi up my nose. No wonder they were chucking their shirts at Frank Lampard after the match. Losing 3-0 to Bournemouth. Maybe Lampard just wanted to lose because he didn't want his old Spygate enemy Marcelo Bielsa to get the Bournemouth job, right? I mean, imagine this legendary boss being contacted about taking the gig in midweek, and now instead he gets to sit down and watch Gary O'Neill beat Everton by an aggregate score of 7 goals to 1. I think those handsome wins have automatically fed Bielsa's job application to the dogs, surely, because O'Neill's not getting sacked after this. But as for Everton, here's my prediction. Lampard will never manage Everton again. But who recovers from these scenes as a manager when fans are literally throwing things above from the stands? This reminds me of when Paolo Di Canio stood in front of the Sunderland away fans after a miserable thumping at West Brom. Yeah. He never coached them again. That is 1 win, 1 draw, and 6 defeats from the last 8 games. I mean, apart from that 1 win over Crystal Palace, they've only scored 2 goals in those 7 other matches. It is grim. And their next match is against Wolves on the 26th of December. I fully believe Lampard is going to be spending Christmas Day weeping into his meatloaf, whilst Roberto Martinez is going to be back at Goodison Park. Honestly, if Belgium have a semi-decent tournament, I can see the Toffees dragging him back to the club. But honestly, hiring someone you fired in 2016, oh, that'll be so anticlimactic, right? Liverpool 3, Southampton 1. Yeah, pretty decent and comfy Liverpool win. Darwin Núñez is scoring goals, and finally starts to look like an actually excellent Liverpool buy. But as for Southampton, am I the only one who thinks that Nathan Jones has made a mistake? I cursed Luton Town. In the Q&A 2 weeks ago, I was asked who will be the next Premier League newbie club to get promoted. And I said Luton. 10 days later, their manager walks out on them. I'm sorry, Luton fans. But listen, Jones has already walked out on Luton once, so then go and unequivocally fail at Stoke. I realize the man's got ambition, but I'm sorry, if he had managed to get Luton Town into the Premier League, I mean, that would put him on the map. But I mean, sculling to finish 16th in the Premier League with Southampton, that's going to be about as memorable as, I don't know, playing Wii tennis with your dog. I mean, Jones, you've just been blinded by the bright lights of the Premier League. A shortcut onto match of the day. Well, what happens if you actually become the first manager since Harry Redknapp in 2005 to get Southampton relegated from the Premier League? I mean, weirdly, Redknapp did a similar thing. I mean, Portsmouth were his Luton Town, a team he also walked out on twice. But imagine if Southampton go down and Luton, with someone like Neil Critchley at the wheel, imagine if they actually go up. And sorry, NJ, your career will be so far stuffed down a sewer that your CD will be tickling the chin of Pennywise the Clown. I honestly believe that taking the Southampton gig is a bad idea, Nathan. I mean, staying at Luton to become a legend, that was only ever going to be a good thing. I mean, this was like when Eddie Howe walked out on Bournemouth for Burnley. Burnley, or when Nigel Clough left Burton Albion for Derby County. Sometimes remaining loyal to the tiny club works out better for your career. Brighton 1, Aston Villa 2. Yeah, Danny Ings is back scoring goals. I'll admit it, I thought this guy was a washed up turkey who now belongs in the Championship, and now with all the goal scoring instincts of a dead Pikachu, I thought he'd reach Charlie Austin levels of being past this. But when a new manager comes in, usually one failing star gets a rebirth, right? I think Danny Ings is Unai Emery's Joe Linton. He just completely took Brighton apart with 2 goals. Lads, when Ings signed for Villa, everyone thought, what a surprise coup. Lads, that was the same summer he was linked with Man City. What an incredible signing. A guaranteed goal machine about to fire them up the leagues. Yeah. I also thought that about Darren Bent, and he would be about as much use to them as a snowman made from potato cheese. But maybe Ings can turn it around. Maybe Emery can squeeze the ghost of his Southampton Golden Boot-esque finishing out of his boots. Maybe, just maybe, Ings isn't done yet. But yeah, good win Villa. Nottingham Forest 1, Crystal Palace 0. What a win! Giving Steve Cooper that contract was the best thing you could have done. Lads, take a minute to remember that Nottingham Forest have now lost 1 of their last 6 games. 4 of those matches were clean sheets. They just beat Liverpool and Tottenham. Steve Cooper has finally got his team cooking. They actually look solid now. Honestly, after this crucial, vital home win over Crystal Palace, who would back against them staying up now? Lads, this could have ended so badly. Imagine if Cooper had been fired a month ago. His reputation would now be smeared over a mouldy slice of toast and fed to the pigs, forcing him to scuttle off and, I don't know, beg Wigan for a job. But no, you put faith in him, stuck by him. You know what? Fair play. Wolves 0, Arsenal 2. How are Arsenal doing this? I'm gonna say this. Never have I been so wrong about a manager in the Premier League history than Mikel Arteta. I will never back down to my Potter thoughts, but Arteta, he was a year into the job and losing home to Burnley. But to be fair, last season is when Arteta changed my mind. People kept talking about Arsenal failing because they finished 5th. No, sorry, have you got meatballs in your skull? To prove that I had faith in Arteta is that, lads, I predicted Arsenal to finish 3rd this season. It's in my prediction video, but to be 5 points clear at the top by Christmas. Martin Odegaard bagging in 2 goals against Wolves. Lad, well done Arsenal. You've been spectacular. But no, you're still not winning the league. Sorry. Anyways, what do you think? Let me know in the comments. Let me know, what did you make of this Premier League game? Let me know if you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to subscribe as always. I'll talk to you in a while.